Hello. I'd like to invite you to take on board a few creative sparks that you can do now and in November and not miss the opportunity to get writing. There's a whole range of different ones I'm going to mention to you. And in fact, every time I started writing them down, I would think of another one. So I'm not even going to tell you at the start what number of sparks there are for you for your creative writing, because I'll probably have added another one by the time I come to the end of this recording. So I'll just put that in the title. I'll put the number in the title. So let's get started. There's a whole range, by the way. There are some that are free, some that cost a certain amount of money, some that are bigger challenges, some that are quite small. But I hope some of them will get your creative juices going and get you starting writing again. So, first of all, the biggest one, don't be fazed by this. This is a huge challenge. The rest will be smaller, is to write a first draft of a novel in the month of November. It's called NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. And there's a whole website with it. I will put those details for you on the little description of this video. But the idea is to write about 1,600 words a day. And at the end of it, there will be about 50,000 words written. That counts as your first draft. There's no expectation that you will edit it at all as you go through, only after you've written that whole first draft. So you can switch your brain off from being self-critical and getting caught up in eternally writing the first perfect paragraph and just write at length. If you fancy that, this is the month to do it in, because many people are going to be trying at the same time. So if you need that, or find it more fun to have a whole group of people meeting the same challenge with a definite deadline, then you might well want to do that in November. To be honest, at the moment, it's a bit last minute to start, but if you can think of your plot, get a few characters, then you can be ready to start on the 1st of November and find out as you write what the story actually is. The other thing you can do now is to book. There's a couple of workshops that I'm running in November. You might like to be involved in those as a way of being given practical exercises and ending up with the start of a piece of writing that you can keep working on after the workshop is done. So depending on what you fancy, there's a double one, which runs on the Wednesday, the 8th and 15th of November, and it's called Turn the Page. And it's geared towards people who have maybe not written for quite a while, or life has got really busy and they're coming back into it, and they would appreciate having 2 sessions of 2 hours with different exercises to get them going again. So you can book that now, Turn the Page, book via Eventbrite. The other workshop I'm doing is a single standalone, just 2 hours, so not too much of a time requirement, and it's called Words and Photos. It's running on the Wednesday, the 22nd of November. And the good thing about it is it's very much geared towards people who enjoy visuals as well. So maybe you like films or you like photographs and you also like writing. How can you combine them? The great thing about it is that we are surrounded by images all the time. So after you've been in this workshop and you've got some more experience in using those as ideas and starting points for writing, you're going to be surrounded by different prompts and ideas and things to respond to. And it'll keep you going and writing for quite a long time. So that's a couple of things you can get involved in. The other thing is to take a book. If you say, I prefer to study on my own, I don't particularly want to be in a group of other people, I want to do more self-directed, then The Artist's Way is a book I totally recommend. By Julia Cameron. There are many different versions of it, but it is also like a workbook because it takes you through exercises to do, things that will get you writing every day and not drying up, but learning to keep getting new ideas in. How do you keep feeding your spiritual creative side that wants to write? So The Artist's Way is roughly about £20 to buy, but you could have a look in the bookshop or even check out an example in your local library to see if you really want it before you commit to buying. But you will want to get your own copy because it runs for, I think it's about 8 weeks as a course. So it's handy to have it not just always be having to renew it. And if you want to scribble or highlight on it as well, of course, it needs to be your own copy. Here's a really low requirement for you, and that's to watch videos on my YouTube channel. I've created a series which are called Creative Jam, and they're full of encouragements with titles like Space to Create, Why Write, Who's Setting Your Creative Space, and Letter Writing. Things that will just give you a chance to look at something encouraging, and maybe that'll spark something for you. Certainly that's why they were made in the first place for me. A small thing you can also do, a little small action, is to write Christmas cards. Now that sounds really a duty thing, doesn't it? It can be quite intimidating. But I find my whole attitude changed when I worked with a lady. And what she did was in the autumn, before December, she would take one evening to write her Christmas cards. She would have them, the cards already there. She would put on a fire, have a lovely glass of wine, have little soft lights on, sit cozily in her favorite comfy armchair, and just pull out a card and write something to each person. And so she enjoyed it and made it a whole evening. So I offer that to you as an idea. The other thing you can do is write a round robin Christmas letter, but make it fun. And that's what I did and ended up at a literary festival recently reading it. And all you do is you make it a multiple choice. So every time you say something, you just do a delete what does not apply, slash something silly, slash something silly. So the one that I wrote had some very silly choices, which were amusing. And in amongst it all, it had real, genuine family news. So I offer that to you as another easy thing to do. The other nice thing about that is that the people who receive it are also enjoying it as well. So you're giving to somebody else. Now, on the 24th of November, I'm going to be involved in a free online writing sprint with Margaret Pinard, Pinard. She runs a channel on YouTube which is geared towards writing sprints, and which is where you will watch live and you will be given a certain amount of time to do something. And I'll be featuring on that on the 24th of November and giving an exercise for people to do. And then you get time, you sit and write it in the knowledge that other people are also sitting and writing as well. Here's something else that's kind of evergreen. You could do it any time of the year, and that is a literary festival or a book launch. And the idea is that you check in computer when the next one is in your area, and then you find the book that's featured. So, for example, if somebody's doing a book launch, if it's available now, you buy it, or maybe their previous book, and read it. And if it's going to a particular event at a literary festival, you read the book by the speaker or the book or topic that's been suggested to be spoken about. And then you go. So you've read a book, you're part of the conversation, you go, and you will also get a chance to see real life authors being real life authors. And it's actually very encouraging. It makes you think, yeah, I could see myself doing that. So get part of the literary community in a small and very easy way. The other thing is, finally, I think, unless another idea occurs to me, is to be more Raymond Chandler. Now, Raymond Chandler is well known for writing The Big Sleep and other famous hard-boiled detective novels, which were then made into successful films. And often he was involved in writing the screenplay as well. And he came to a point where he lost his post, his job, and he had to start again. And what he did was he had tried to write and it hadn't really taken off. So he signed up for evening class. So the obvious similarity would be to go and do one of my workshops. But anyway, he did this evening class, short story writing, and then he took a story by a really popular writer at the time, Earl Stanley Gardner, and he was a pulp writer. And he thought, how can this be? So what he did was he took a story, and this is what he said he did. I simply made an extremely detailed synopsis, and from that rewrote it, and then compared what he'd written with the authors. And then he went back and rewrote it some more, and so on, and it looked pretty good. So You could do that with a favorite writer of yours that you think I would like to write a little bit in their style, is to go and take one of the stories they've written, rewrite it, change it, rewrite it a bit, tweak it, and then it will end up being much more yours. And in that way, you have written a story. So, whichever of these options you choose, or any of your own, I'm sure if you've got good ideas, please do let us know. Um, Whatever you're doing now and in November, I hope that you are being creative, enjoying that, flourishing in it, feeling you're learning new skills, and enjoying being part of the community that are writing. So, bye for now.